You tend to overestimate what you can do in a month and underestimate what you can do in a year. Hi, my name's Devon. Today I own several multi-million-dollar companies. We started with $5,000 in a credit card. I don't know the easy way, I only know the hard way. Hey everybody, welcome to the Whiteboard Entrepreneur Podcast, where I give straightforward advice for the entrepreneur in all of us. I'm Devon Dickinson, and today I want to talk about the misconceptions as an entrepreneur that we have on time. And I struggle with this myself, so I've learned this lesson over and over and over. But I also like to teach this lesson as well. So I was having coffee with a good friend, and they're like, "Hey, D, I want to talk about something," right? And I'm like, "Okay, great." So we're having coffee, and it's kind of a guy that I know that's had a good amount of success, right? And I thought we were going to sit there and we were going to talk about we're conquering this giant and that giant, and we're really kind of taking down barriers and we're growing. And instead, he kind of had this look like, well, I'm just, at night when I think about it, I'm just not where I wanted to be, at this particular time. And, when I think about 10 years out, I don't know if I'm going to be where I want to be in 10 years. And I literally almost spit my coffee out laughing, because that's so funny to me. Like, the perspective that he has of himself and where he's at versus what I have and what I see. And the only reason is because I'm, significantly older than him. And I've lived this. I've had these conversations with mentors of mine. I've had these conversations between me and the mirror. And we do this. We have, especially as an entrepreneur, you're ambitious, you're growing, you have all these ideas and goals and aspirations. And so time becomes a very funky thing to entrepreneurs, and probably everybody in general, but we do this. There's a saying that it says where you tend to overestimate what you can do in a month and underestimate what you can do in a year. So I want you to let that sink in. Think about this for yourself personally as I say this again. You overestimate what you can do in a month. And so I want you to think about, where you're at if it's close to the month, wherever you're at a month ago. I bet you in your mind, you thought you were going to get much further in a month than you actually did. However, the other thing I want you to do, put a pin in that, think about that. So you might be a little discouraged right now. And this podcast is designed to encourage you, never to discourage you. So put a pin in that thought. Now, I also want you to go back in time and think about what it was a year ago. What did it look like a year ago this time for you? I bet you dramatically different. And that's what we do as entrepreneurs. We have these very strange ideas of time and expectations. And like I said, you should. Here's what I'm never telling you to set lower goals and longer times, right? Keep those high aspiration goals in short periods of time, right? Because that's what drives the success in a year. Right? But we have this short-term memory. And so we can't ever come back and go, wow, I have progressed in a year. And so my challenge to him, I started talking to my friend. I said, you're saying, I don't think I'm going to be where I want to be in 10 years. I'm like, you're crazy, because our life is like a flywheel, right? You know the expression of a flywheel, right? That wheel, that's a giant wheel that, like, that first turn takes every bit of energy that you have. It's like, and you turn it, and that one wheel turns, right? And picture that being 1 year, right? And you know how this works, right? That second turn, that inertia, that momentum that you have going, that second turn of the wheel goes that much easier. Is it half as easy? Is it 30% as easy? Is it 20% as easy? Honestly, it's probably not that much easier, but I bet you it's 15% easier. Now that third wheel is now 15% easier. And you do that over and over again for 10 turns of that flywheel. And now you're cruising. 15% easier does not sound like a lot over the course of a year. And it certainly doesn't sound like a lot over the course of a month. But if you did that 15%. Think about how compound interest works. That's the same way our lives work. When we have consistent applied effort over time, that's how life works. All of a sudden, after 10 years, that flywheel's cruising. You can even take your hand off the flywheel and it's going. And as an entrepreneur, that's what's going to happen. You might be saying, well, it's 2 years or 3 years and I'm still grinding. I thought I'd have 500 employees and I'm never going to get there because I only have 4 employees. Okay. Year 1, you had 1 employee. Year 2, you had 2 employees. Year 3, you have 4 employees. And you're going, I only have 4 employees after 3 years. Well, guess what? That's 100% growth, right? Now, year 4, you have 8 employees. Year 5, you have 16. All of a sudden, you're like, well, I guess I have a decent little company. Year 6, you have 32. Year 7, you have 64. Year 8, you have 128. Year 9, I'm not going to continue to do the math. I'm not that great, right? But you see where I'm going with this. This flywheel is just turning and growing. And so we have these unrealistic expectations. But here's what I want you to understand, entrepreneurs. I'm sure you're getting excited right now and you're going, I can do this in 10 years. I can do this in 10 years. Yeah, but remember at the end of the month, you're not going to see that 10 years, right? But you have to measure, did I grow at all? Did I grow 3%? Did I grow 8%? Did I grow 10%? Did I grow 50%? Am I growing at all? If you grow consistently month over month over month over month, that's that flywheel turning. That's that flywheel turning. We see this a lot of times in like diets, right? And again, I'd love to tell you I'm conquering this, but I'm not, right? So I'm preaching to myself here. But, imagine like you said, I'm going to lose, everyone says this, like, I need to lose 25 pounds. But what they don't say is I need to lose 2 pounds this month and then do that for a whole year. Because at the end of the year, you lost 24 pounds, right? But we get discouraged in that diet because we make it, 3-4 weeks. Maybe we even make it the full month and we look down and we go, I only lost 2 pounds. I'm not getting there, right? And so we quit our diet. And that's what entrepreneurs do. We don't realize that growth is growth, that learning is it's not easy. It's hard. We're going to take hopefully 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But guess what? That's still 1 step forward. If you do that month over month over month over month, all of a sudden you're going to be absolutely shocked what your life looks like in 10 years from now. 20 years from now, what could it be like? 30 years from now. I'm not sure your age. You shouldn't be discouraged. You say, oh, well, geez, I'm, 45 years old and I've never even started. Who cares? What could your life look like at 55? Or here's the contrary. What would your life look like at 55 if you don't do this? If you don't have that attitude, if you quit? Guys, listen, this is not easy. I'd love to be able to tell you, oh, here's the magic word so that your life looks like what you want it to look like in 10 years and 1 month. I don't have that magic word. I only know the hard way. But guys, get this inside of your mind. Understand what I'm telling you here. Constant growth month over month over month is what you're striving for. You will be absolutely shocked. Like I said, this is not an excuse to have smaller goals and longer time frames. Continue to set high expectations month over month. Continue to set those big goals. And I want you to be mad when you don't hit them, right? But that frustration, I want you to drive you harder, not a frustration to quit. So, when my friend and I had coffee, he kind of sat back and did this like, I never thought of it that way. That's what I hope this podcast is doing for you. I hope it's setting the right expectations, and I hope it's really encouraging you that you can pursue your dreams. And this is for the entrepreneur in all of us, right? This isn't for, the Jeff Bezos of the world, although it can be, but this is for you, the person who's listening that gets discouraged, that needs a pep talk, that maybe this month, maybe you took 1 step forward and 2 steps back. That's okay. What does it look like a year from now? Keep that perspective. Keep driving forward. Listen, it's not easy. I only know the hard way. I'm Devon. I hope this helps.